Hey everybody, Chris McCauley. Nice to meet you guys face to face. I've been talking to you guys for a while. So I mentioned this in the last video that I wanted to start doing talks. I want to do the talks because, sorry about the quality of the video. I thought I had a good setup to deal with this, and it turns out it doesn't work. So for this one, I'm on my phone, and I apologize for the lack of quality. I will, within the next couple weeks, rectify this situation. Exactly what I'm going to do, I'm not sure yet. I have to kind of weigh my options. But anyway, I wanted to do these because I wanted to dive deeper into issues. I want to talk about the business side of things. I want to talk about what it's like to be an indie. I want to talk about topics that you guys have questions about. Speaking of which, if you have a topic you want me to talk about, please tell me in the comments. I am wide open. I have literally no plans past this video for exactly what I'm going to talk about. When I don't have a topic, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive deeper, like I said, into either the business side of things or into what it's like to be an indie dev. I'll pick different topics. But I can also do deep dives on individual topics in programming. And I can pull up a whiteboard or something and then just kind of draw out with you guys. And maybe I'll film it on my Surface where I have a pen, so on and so forth. But, you know, just let me know. Let me know in the comments if there's a topic you guys want me to cover, and I'll cover it. So you guys know I'm pretty dang open with you guys. I respond to just about everything. I'm here. I want to help you guys. That's why I did this. You know, I'm just a guy who was trying to make tutorials for his kid and his kid's friends, and next thing you know, we're at 250 subs. Now, that's not huge in terms of YouTube, but for me, it is big. For me, it means that something I've always wanted to do, which is teach, is something I get the opportunity to do. And I want to thank you guys for that, because without you guys, then I couldn't fulfill that kind of desire / need in my own life. So, you know, I'm doing this because I like to do it, and if I ever don't like to do it, then, you know, we'll wrap it up. But for right now, I am thoroughly enjoying this. I love talking with you guys. I love working with you guys. I love seeing what you guys are producing because it's awesome. Some of the things you guys have shown me are so cool, and I am so proud that I even get to be a part of that process for you guys. So, anyway, let's start with just kind of a quick overview. So we'll go with kind of what I see indie meaning, and also how to maybe get started planning your first project. So I'll cover that today, and hopefully you guys will get something out of that. So to me, an indie dev is anybody who doesn't have a large publisher paying the bills for them. Now that's probably more broad than a lot of people use, but if you are working with your own money, or you're working with a... Also, I'll put one more caveat on there. I'd say under 20 people for the company, right? So, like, for instance, Bungie is now going to self-publish. They don't qualify as an indie company to me. They're AAA. They may not be published AAA, but they're AAA. So, you know, say 20 employees is the high side of indie. Yeah, give or take, right? I mean, that's not a hard number, but a give or take. And then you're not having your work paid for by somebody else. You don't have a publisher. You don't have, you know, all of this crazy stuff happening. You are developing either on a small or no budget, and we'll cover both of those in a second. But so, like me, I am the only actual employee of the company, and then I farm out the art and music and, you know, marketing and all that kind of stuff. That's my style. Do I wish I had employees? I do, but I'll be honest, I've never had the budget to do so. I have made games, obviously, and I've been able to continue making games, but I've yet to have a success great enough to where I feel comfortable hiring an employee. And will I? Yes, I will. I want to expand. That is a goal of mine. But that's so I come from the really small indie side of things. But they're smaller, right? There's part-time indies working a couple hours a day or maybe just a few hours a week. And all of that is encompassed in indie to me. So when I talk about this channel, most of what I'm going to be talking about is things that pertain to indie developers. And mostly small indie developers. Startup bits, those kinds of things. I don't mean startup like tech companies I mean like, little indie companies getting their start in the industry. So that's what I mean by that, by indie. That's what indie means to me. The indie community is very important to me. I would say 90+% of all video games that I buy are all indie games. I do buy the occasional AAA game. You will see me playing Blizzard games here and there. You will see me doing things when I'm on Discord. You'll see me playing games, I'm sure, that aren't indie. That's fine. I'm not saying every game I buy is indie, but I truly love the indie community, and I do support it a lot. I have probably 400 plus indie games. So, the community is important to me, and these tutorials are a way that I can kind of help the community, and that makes me happy. Okay. How do we get started? What should you do to plan your first project? Well, if you're going to be full-time indie, you need to figure out how many months your budget will last for. And you need to be pretty stingy, right? You need to understand that you're not going to be living the high life while you're making your first game. You probably won't be living the high life making your 4th game or 5th game or 10th game. But the point is you need to come up with what your budget will, how long your budget will last for, okay? And so let's take a number. It's going to last 10 months, right? We have 10 months before the lights shut off because you can't do anymore. That's your hard release date. Your soft release date should probably be at the 9-month mark because it takes a month to get paid. By the way, it takes a month to get paid. Plan accordingly, right? So if you release your game in March, we'll say, like I'm planning to do with the next game, Guild of Delinar. If I release it in March, I won't get paid till the end of April. So let's say you release March 1st. Well, Steam won't guarantee that you get paid until April 31st. Now, it's probably going to be a few days before that, but not a lot. You need to plan accordingly. If your lights are going to go out on March 31st, then you need to make sure you release that game in February. So keep that in mind. If you are developing with no budget, you're doing this part-time, you're doing so with just maybe some art that you're trying to get on the side, so not no budget, but minuscule budget. I still recommend picking a small project to start with, right? Get some experience before you try to go gung-ho. I know, and I've heard of, and I've listened to people, many of whom have quit developing because they picked a project that was too long, too difficult, and it just falls apart. So another reason to plan a smaller project. So again, total budget time, cut it in half, go with that. Why? 10 months, we're going to plan a 5-month game. Why are we planning a 5-month game? Well, the answer is because you're not going to plan it perfectly. I don't. I've been at it for a decade. AAA game companies that their entire job is to manage that project to get it to a specific release date fail all the time. If nobody else can do it perfectly, neither can you. So plan on the small side, because the worst thing you can do is get to 10 months, your money's out, and you don't have something you can sell. Don't do that. Plan a smaller project. Give yourself some space for some project creep. It's going to happen. Give yourself some time to learn new bits, new pieces of code, new ways of doing things. Give yourself some time to fail, because you will fail. So fail fast, right? And I'll do a whole video on failing faster eventually, because that's kind of a key thing for being an indie. But plan for half that time. 5 months out of the 10-month budget is what you're planning for. Gives you time for the polish, time for the project creep, time for things that just didn't work out the way you wanted to. Gives you time. Do an early access period. Whether it's through Steam or somewhere else, do an early access period. If you don't, you better have produced an amazing game. And since it's your first game, it's probably not amazing. And I don't mean that to be degrading. I'm on my, well, if you count the mobile games before, I'm on my 6th game. Ain't perfect. So, rather than planning on being perfect, plan to be imperfect. Early access is a great way for you to pull in feedback, revise some things, but also bring in enough money, hopefully, to keep going. If you're on no budget, then all of a sudden you're bringing in some money, at least a little bit, hopefully, and you can start to reinvest that in art and sound, and maybe pay yourself a little bit, and, you know, stuff like that. Do an early access period. Plan small. If you go for a 5-year project, the odds of you completing the project at all, very small. I would say less than 1%. If you plan yourself a 3-month project, probably still only has a 50% completion rate. Something so small as 3 months, it will oftentimes become so discouraging at some point that you'll quit. And I don't want you guys to quit. I want you guys to be able to keep going. But a 50% completion rate is much better than a 1% completion rate. Start small. Build a project and release it. Whatever platform you choose to release it on, just find a way to release it. Whether that's on itch or you just self-publish it off your website. Do something. Publish a game. Because when you do, you'll learn a lot. Things I can't even tell you. Okay, you're going to learn how annoying marketing is. You're going to learn how annoying the platform you're releasing on is. And all the ins and outs and little bits and things that just annoy the crap out of you. And I'll go into my experience with Steam. And I'll go into my experience with other platforms and whatnot. I will go into all that. But you learn a lot from releasing. And you can't get that all from me. You can't get that all from anybody on the internet. Nobody out there can explain to you exactly what it's going to take for you to release your game. So releasing a game is key. Do that with a small project. Because, man, if you go do a big, awesome project, you can fail in that project simply because you don't get it out there right. If you spent 3 months and you fail that way, okay, that sucks. But it's not nearly as bad as if you spent 2 years getting there and you have an actually really good game, but you couldn't get it released properly. You couldn't have a smooth release. You didn't know how to customer service. You didn't know how to handle the marketing. You didn't know how to showcase your game or what to say, and I still struggle with those things after releasing tons of games, right? I hired a marketing company for the first time because I just can't do it. I struggle with that, and you might too. But the only way you know that is by releasing games and finding where you struggle. Because when you find where you struggle, then you can find where your budget needs to go. You can find the ways that you need to get things done. So in that first project management, start small. And I mean really small. The smallest game that you could consider fun. That's kind of actually why I started this top-down shooter. You can take what's there right now on the internet, create levels for it, add 3 or 4 more abilities, add 3 or 4 more mobs, and produce 15 to 20 levels, and you can have something that's pretty cool. Something that'll earn back its $100 Steam fee, right? The Steam Direct fee, $100. You can make a game that'll earn that back. And it's a game that you'll be able to tell your friends, tell your family. You'll be able to be proud of that. So start small. Find that small thing. Make that small thing, okay? Art budget-wise. I don't believe in using free art for myself. I have nothing against it. But you're going to get a lot of flack for it if you release a game with free art. So find an artist that will accept a meager budget. There's plenty of them out there. If you're having trouble doing that, trade art for percentage of the game sales, right? Do what you got to do. If you can make art, do it. Great. I can't. I'm broken. Can't do it. As I've told you guys a million times in the tutorials, I simply cannot make art. My little stick art is the best I got. So consider all that, right? Consider what you need. You need music. There's tons of free music, and nobody really knows it's free music, so use it. I don't. I have found well, she was in college when I met her. I don't know whether to call her girl or lady these days, because she's a little bit older now than when I started. And she's wonderful, and if you guys need her information, I'll send it to you. She's awesome. Her name is Jessica. But she treats me fair. She charges me fair rates, and I love the fact that I have unique music and sounds in the game. But there's tons of sound out there. Tons. Free sounds, free music, free all kinds of stuff. You can edit it and change the variables. I don't know, I'm not a sound guy, but my point is you can tweak it and make it sound completely different just by raising and lowering your treble and bass and whatnot even. And there's more you can do. You can stretch and condense all kinds of the parts of the waves. My point is sound is the easier side, at least for me. Art is the impossible side for me, so I have to hire that out. You might have different talents. You might have to hire out different things than I have to hire out, but figure that out. Plan for it. Give yourself an exact budget. So let's say that I'm what I just called a no budget earlier. I mean a really tiny budget person. And I say, okay, I'm going to put $2,000 into making this game. That's kind of a lot for a small budget or no budget game. But, okay, let's take it down to $1,000. $1,000. I'm going to say I'm going to do all my own music and all my own code. So all I have to do is art. What do you need art-wise? Plan out each piece. Know everything you need. So that when you find an artist, you can say, this is what I need, and I have $1,000. What? Can you do that for me? If not, what would it cost for you to do that for me? Can I do $1,000 and 5% of sales? So on and so forth. Find your way. Also, if you do that deal, honor it. Right? You make a deal with that artist that gives them 5% of sales, then you give them 5% of sales. Right? Don't backstab them. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that person. Right? It'll all come back on you. Right? Consider all that. Overview again. Small project. Short project. Within your capabilities. Don't plan a project that you can't do. Or don't plan a project that's very far outside of your abilities. Growing with each project's a good thing, but don't plan a project that's 10 times harder than you're capable of. Maybe plan a project that's 1.5 times harder than you're capable of today. Plan your budget well. Budget it all out. Don't get willy-nilly with the budget. Have fun, right? Because one of the hardest parts about being a dev is when the times get tough, giving up happens. Don't do that. Release your games. Start with the smallest prototype you can. Expand from there. Don't give yourself a 5-year game to start with. That's just crazy. Find your weaknesses, and then find people to help you with those weaknesses. Produce a budget that makes sense and actually works, and plan your game for half that time. Alright guys, look, this is the first video. I'm going to get better at this. I wish you all the best. I really do. And I want to be here to be there on your journey. If you like the video, hit like down there. Subscribe. Give me a comment. Let me know if you liked this. Let me know if you didn't like it. Give me topics that you want me to talk about. I can do this. I can do this regularly. This takes a lot less planning than doing the tutorials. So I should be able to keep up one of these a week and a tutorial each week. But most of all, get out there, get to your computer, write some code, develop, be an indie. If you're the art side, design and get that art done, and find that coder to help you with the code, okay? In general, my perspective is going to be from the programmer's side, because that's where I come from. So, you know, find your weaknesses, find people that will rectify those for you. I'll see you guys next time. Get out there, get some code done. See you later.